Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am doing something a little bit different this week that I thought I would just bring you guys along with me. We're starting a little journey on trying to get our guts healthy. And this is a new thing to me that honestly, I didn't even know anything about gut health. I didn't really know much about how it intertwined with everything else. And I'm finding that it is huge. So I'm gonna try to change some things in my family's life to help us get our guts healthy and hopefully help some other things. So if you've been curious about doing some stuff to heal your gut, then maybe you could follow along with me and you could give me some tips too, because I don't really know what I'm doing, but I thought we could figure this out together. So if that sounds interesting, then stay tuned. Today's Thursday. I actually was sick yesterday, so I probably sound kind of congested. I don't know. It was pretty miserable and I fell asleep all day, but we did school. But every 10 minutes or so, I was falling asleep on the couch and then a kid would tell me they need help and I'd wake up. So anyway, I'm feeling much better today, but still congested. That's just a coincidence, but I figured now was a good time. I went to this meeting last week or 2 weeks ago and it was I always forget what it's called, like a natural medicine doctor. I don't think that's what it's called. There's another name for it. And if I can, I'll probably remember it after I'm done filming this and I'll just put it down here for you guys. But anyway, it's some sort of natural medicine doctor. It was this thing at our co-op. It was a mom's night thing. And this lady came and spoke to us, and she is a natural medicine doctor. She spoke to us about healing our gut and how that intertwines with so many things that I was like, what? Even to like depression, anxiety, like all these things that I'm like, I had no idea that that had anything to do with your gut. And there's some different medical issues that different people in my family have been dealing with lately. And it's sometimes if you go to a regular doctor, they try to give you medicine or they just are not helpful. And she is helping get to the root, or taught me how to get to the root of the problem. And that is healing their gut. And that is, she talked about a leaky gut, which I guess I've heard the phrase before, but I didn't really know what it meant. So anyway, to try to help with some of this stuff and see if we can get our family a little bit more healthy, we're gonna try 3 things this week, maybe 4, but we're at least gonna start with 3. First thing is Kefir or Kefir. I'm not sure the fancy way to say it. In America, I think we say Kefir, but I have heard, I think it's supposed to be Kefir or Kefir, maybe. Anyway, it's that probiotic. I'm gonna learn how to make it myself. I ordered some Kefir grains on Amazon. They finally arrived. It took forever for them to get here. They finally arrived. So I'm gonna be making some kefir. I'm gonna make some of that today so we can start putting that in our smoothies. I'm also gonna make some Greek yogurt, which I have watched videos on. It sounds like it's super easy, so I thought I'd do that and show you guys too in my Instant Pot. And then the third thing is sauerkraut. That's another thing that another lady that I know has talked about how sauerkraut and fermented things are really good for your gut. And I like it. My family's not a huge fan, but what this lady does is she gives her family like a spoonful of a sauerkraut every day, and she makes it herself, and they're super fit, healthy family. So that's what we're gonna try too. The fourth thing that I may try, but I may not, is getting back into my sourdough. I have a sourdough starter back in the depths of the back of my fridge that I might wake up if I feel like, I don't want to make sourdough bread at this point because I don't have time to babysit it, but I might. I did enjoy having the sourdough discard stuff. Like I made sourdough discard pancakes and pizza and different things. That is the reason why I'd like to wake it up. So we'll see if I feel adventurous enough to do that. But I'm gonna go in the store. I gotta buy some flour because I have no flour in the house and I need that, and milk for making the Greek yogurt. And we'll see what else we get in here. So you guys can come along with me.
I have good news and bad news. Which do you want to hear first? Okay, how about, let's see. Most people like the good news first. So the good news is it was really easy to do kefir grains. I'm just gonna say kefir because I never figured out the fancy way to say it. It was very easy. This is probably 2 or 3 weeks after I filmed the original video for you guys. So this is an update on how things went. I ordered kefir grains on Amazon, and when they came, it took me a couple days to like wake them up. It's very easy. So if you want to do this, anybody could do it. It really is easy. You get these tiny little, they almost look like cottage cheese balls, or I don't know what else they look like, kind of like that, but they're kind of indestructible. They stay that size, these like bubbly little things. So all you do is every day you feed your kefir. You take a jar, and I just use a mason jar like this. I labeled it kefir grains because I didn't want it to be dumped out. I didn't want anybody drinking this because it has the grains in it. So you fill the jar. Typically I would fill the jar almost up to here with, you just put the kefir grains in the bottom, and then you fill it up to here, and then you wait a day, or probably depends on the temperature of your house, because sometimes I ended up waiting almost 40, or maybe not quite 48 hours, 36 hours, something like that. It was like a day and a half for it to actually get thick. So see how this is like, I don't know if you can really tell. It hasn't really, this has been sitting for a couple days in the fridge, which I will explain in a minute, but it's like a thick yogurt. So yeah, can you see the bottom? See how it's like got some chunky, thick yogurtness in it? Anyway, so it was quite easy to do. Here is the problem. Your family has to keep up with it. So my problem, this is kind of a little bit of the bad news, I was making it every day. It was like, okay, this isn't a big deal. I can feed it. And then the next day you dump this into a clean jar with a strainer. And so you dump it into a clean jar and get your kefir grains out. You put your kefir grains into a different clean jar, or you just rinse this one out. And then you add milk to that. So that one is going to sit on your counter and, you know, do its thing for a couple days. And then you put your kefir milk in the fridge for everybody to drink. So then I had, you know, a jar of kefir milk, and I put it in the fridge for the family to use. And like the first day we made a smoothie, and it was good with it. It probably depends on what kind of fruit you have, but we had some like more sour fruit a little bit, and I think we added a little bit of apple juice to it, maybe, because it has a sour flavor, and that was the struggle. I do not like the smell of this. I find it kind of disgusting. It's like, you know, it smells like sour milk kind of. So I would never drink this by itself. The kefir that you get at the store is quite different, and I don't know what they do differently besides put sugar in it. I know the flavored ones, like the blueberry ones, my kids used to love, but it had sugar in it. So that's why I was doing this, to try to like avoid that. But this tastes terrible by itself. If you can put it in a smoothie, that's fine, but we can't always have smoothies. So if we, you know, ran out of time and didn't have, or maybe we didn't have enough of that kind of fruit, nobody was drinking it. So then I had like 4 jars of kefir milk in the fridge that nobody was drinking. And I'm like, guys, you need to keep up with this, because this is something I make every day. So I think if I'm going to do this, I need to be the one to make sure, like, okay, every morning I'm going to make a smoothie, or I need to figure out what other stuff I can do with it, because it's not something you can just drink by itself. Maybe you can. I can't. I think it's disgusting. My husband lost his taste and smell like 5 years ago, whatever, when he had COVID. Still doesn't have it. And he can only like taste lemon stuff, or if something's like off or whatever. And he was like, that stuff was nasty. For him to be able to taste it means it's pretty strong. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I know I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just that it's a sour smell. It's like, I don't know. It's fermented. So anyway, that is the difficult part with that. So I put this on hold. So this kefir grain and milk has been sitting in my fridge for a couple days. As I've paused, and when life is busy, it's just a struggle to do this stuff. So that comes to my second point of that this can be done, but it doesn't necessarily have to be done from scratch. If you want to eat healthy, I think you can do it, but you don't have to do all of it. And that's where I may just have to accept the fact that I'm in a stage of life where I'm not going to be making sourdough from scratch. I don't have time. Where I may not be making homemade kefir. Maybe buying the unsweetened stuff from the store. At least everybody is drinking it. I don't know. I think I can do this. The kefir is like the easiest thing, but it just wasn't, I don't know. I just wish you could just drink it, but I don't want to add sugar to it and take away the healthiness. But here's the other thing. One of the other things I mentioned to you guys was sauerkraut. I was like, I'm going to do sauerkraut. Well, my friend gave me a recipe for it and gave me I don't even know if it's a sauerkraut starter, but she gave me some of her homemade sauerkraut. I just haven't gotten around to it. I just don't have time. So I realized today when I was at our local like Mennonite pantry, like bulk food store, I was like, I don't have to make all this stuff, but we can still be healthy. So the sauerkraut was something I wanted to do where we could every day, we have like a spoonful, a couple tablespoons full of sauerkraut just to help tummies get where they need to be. So instead of me making it, because I just don't have time right now, I bought a big old jar of organic sauerkraut. And I think all this is organic raw cabbage and Himalayan pink salt. This is not going to be like buying, you know, I don't know what they put in other sauerkraut at the store, but I'm sure there's some that has sugar or additives or whatever. This is good. This is good stuff. So instead of me worrying about it, I paid $6.10 for this, which maybe is a lot. I don't know, but I was like, I just need to get it so that we can do it. So my point is, I think all this stuff would be good to get our tummies regulated and figure out the whole gut health thing, but I don't necessarily have to do everything in the world from scratch. It's hard. I would say Instagram is wonderful, and it's also a beast, and so is YouTube sometimes, because you see these moms, you know, that look like they have it all together, and they're homeschooling their kids, and they're making sourdough bread from scratch every day, and she's wearing an apron and a dress, and her house is clean, and she's smiling and hugging and never yells at the kids and all this stuff. And here I am trying to just make kefir, make it out of the fridge into a smoothie. And I'm like, ah! So my intentions are good. And I think you really have to be intentional about this, because otherwise, what's easier? Making a homemade dinner from scratch, making sure everybody gets, you know, homemade sauerkraut and a cup of kefir every day, or going out and grabbing something to eat while you're out. Of course, it's easier to eat out, but I'm trying to help my family get healthier. So anyway, you don't have to do it all yourself. So I'm giving you permission this week that if you need to go buy a big old jug of sauerkraut, go for it. And your kids are probably not going to like it either way, honestly. I hope mine do, but I'm going to make them eat it either way, because they can handle that. There's grass cutting and cars going by. This is just amazing. I should have put my apron on. Anyway, I am going to keep trying. I'm not giving up, but this, I had really, really good intentions, but some of the stuff may just not be in your stage of life. I may have to wait until all the kids are out of the house, and then me and my husband have super healthy guts. I don't know. Or we'll just eat out all the time and be fat and happy together. I'm not sure, but I'm at least going to try. I'm not totally giving up on this, but I wanted to give you guys an update. I thought about just scrapping this and the video footage that I filmed in the beginning and just being like, why am I going to share that I failed? But because that's what I do. Because I want to let you guys know that I'm not totally giving up, and you don't have to give up if you can't make all the stuff from scratch and keep the family alive and do your homeschooling or whatever it is that you're juggling. You can get some help. If you need to go to, like out here in Ohio, a lot of times in the area where we live, there's little stands where you can buy sourdough bread. I was just at that pantry this morning and they had sourdough bread there. You can buy sourdough bread that somebody else makes if you really want to have that. And I think that is a good option, because I would like to eat sourdough. I don't necessarily want to pay $6 a loaf or how much ever it is, but if I want it in our lives, I may have to do that if I don't have time to stretch and fold all day long. Good news and bad news. So I'm going to give myself a C. No, I should give myself a B, because I did try. I don't know. That's how I'm going to grade. I definitely don't get an A for this, but I'm not disappointed in myself, because it's just the stage of life I'm in, and I'm glad I tried these things, and they're harder. It's harder than it looks. It's not as easy as Instagram makes it look, but keep trying to keep your family healthy. We can do it. If you have any tips for me about making the kefir palatable, please let me know, because maybe there's something I'm just missing, or maybe I thought about like blending it with fruit or something. I'm not sure. I mean, without making a smoothie, just make it drinkable, but I don't know. Anyway, my family wasn't super impressed with it. Neither was I. So, but at least I learned how to make it yogurty. So I'm proud of myself for that. Yay. Thank you guys for being here and for coming along with me on this little tiny journey that I have veered from a little bit. But it was fun talking to you guys, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.